Say hello to my brand new 2025 Ioniq 5 limited all-wheel drive in digital teal. Just picked it up in Colorado a couple days ago, and I just drove it back to New England, over 2,000 miles. We're not going to talk about the road trip in this video. That is going to be its own dedicated video. It's going to be a long one, so stay tuned for that. This is just going to be an introduction to my new car. So you're going to have to forgive me for having it looking the way it does. I'm not going to get it washed because I still have to drive it up to Boston, and it's just going to get dirty again on the highway. So I'm leaving it as it is from my 2,000 miles that I put on it. I did clean it off a little bit this morning because it was literally almost a solid block of ice from driving for 15 hours in the snow yesterday from Columbus, Ohio back to Connecticut. But here she is. She was one of the first delivered in the state of Colorado, one of the first limited all-wheel drives delivered in the country. I've seen a few, maybe 5 or 6 that have been delivered, but I can't wait to start testing this for you guys, doing some comparisons with my 2022 SEL all-wheel drive. Obviously, it's not 100% apples to apples because this is the top trim versus the SEL mid-spec for my 2022, but we're going to do the best we can. But do make sure you're subscribed because I am going to have both the road trip video and a 30-day review on this new car. Before we begin though, huge shout out to Stevenson Hyundai of Frederick in the Denver metro area in Colorado. If you're looking to get one of these cars, definitely check them out. If you mention Ioniq Guy 2025, they will give you a $500 discount off your purchase or lease. So if you want to save a little bit of money, mention Ioniq Guy 2025 at Stevenson Hyundai. So let's do a walk around. So starting at the front, you can see revised front end. You have kind of a glossy black insert down low now. Yikes. This thing got beat up on the highway. Holy cow, look at that scratch. I hope that polishes out. Headlights remain the same here on the limited trim for 2025. The light bar here now, instead of having single little LED bars, they are now split into pairs. It's still one single light strip underneath, but they did kind of just make the light pass through in 2 little lines now. You've got the new flat Hyundai badges in kind of a satin silver, look good. And then we've got new wheels. These are the 20s for the limited all-wheel drive. Limited rear-wheel drive gets the 19s, and then the rest of the lineup all gets the same 19s. But here on the limited trim, you do have the silver trim around the wheel arches. Here on my limited trim, you've got the surround view camera system, so there's a camera in each side view mirror. Same pop-out door handles, nothing changed there. For 2025 though, you do get roof rails, so if you want to put a roof rack on the car, you can now easily do that. Here on the limited trim, it does have the same rear lighting as my 2022 SEL. They now reserve this lighting for only the limited trim. You used to be able to get it on the SEL. For 2023, they moved it up to only the limited trim, and there it has stayed, so they haven't brought that down. Kind of unfortunate because I think this lighting is the best looking. The others just have like a black insert across the center section. But for the digital rear view mirror, there's your little camera, and then obviously rear windshield wiper. Oh my God, driving for 15 hours in the snow through Pennsylvania yesterday, that thing was awesome. So happy to have it now. Again, the flat Hyundai logo. I'm gonna leave these this time. I'm not even gonna swap them out because I think they look so much better. There's your revised rear fascia. I think it looks pretty good. It's definitely a big departure from the previous Ioniq 5. But the biggest change, other than the larger battery for 2025, is the fact that you now have the NACS port here as standard equipment. I really do like it. I'm sorry, but if you say CCS1 is a better standard than this, you're wrong. The connector just goes in so easily, comes out so easily. It's just so much easier to utilize than the CCS port was with the stupid little charging flap that you had to remove from the DC pins. You do now also have an LED light in here that definitely helps at night with finding the port. And for 2025, you can now hold this button and it will suspend your scheduled charging if you do need to charge immediately. And speaking of the NACS port, if you didn't already see on Out of Spec Reviews, when I was in Fort Collins, I met up with Jordan from Out of Spec. We compared charging on a V3 supercharger, my Ioniq 5 versus his Model 3, and I will spoil the video. I beat him by about a minute or so. So the Ioniq 5 beat a Tesla on its own charging network. So that was really cool. And I'll leave a link in the description if you want to watch that video. It was a fun one. So what do you guys think of the new wheels for the top limited all-wheel drive trim? I actually really like them. I think they look really good. I actually think I like them even more than the previous turbine-inspired wheels. Let's pop the hood, check out the front trunk. Still got the gas struts. Another big change, no more low conductivity coolant for this car, so at 35,000 miles you don't have to get that flushed or whatever they do to it. Really good to see that. Unfortunately, they're still using a standard lead-acid battery. I guess they haven't learned their lesson there, but we'll see how that holds up over time. Here's the front trunk. You will see here is that CCS1 to NACS adapter that came with the car. I'll plug that in for you guys so you can just see that. Pretty simple. Seems really high quality too. It's quite hefty. They definitely seem to have made it pretty robust. And then in here I've also got my tire mobility kit, first aid kit, and then the car also did come with a level 1 charger. So you can charge on level 1 with a native NACS charging cable if you don't already have a level 2 charger at home, and adding 30 miles a day with just that is good enough for you. The front does seem a little bit deeper, so I'm gonna have to take measurements when I get back to Boston with next to my SEL from 2022, but it does seem a little bit larger. But that's pretty much it under the hood. For 2025, it does also adopt the new kind of standard Hyundai key, which I will admit has grown on me now that I've been driving the Ioniq 6 as well. I don't actually think it's as bad as I first did. I do wish there was a way that the physical key could be stored in the fob though, instead of having it just dangling on the keychain. That really does kind of annoy me. Let's check out the inside. So you can see that I did go with the dark green and kind of cream colored interior. This is my favorite color combination on the Ioniq 5. Just truly a looker, in my opinion. You got some black, you got some green, you got some cream, you've got some gray on the steering wheel. Getting in, I'm going to turn on my seat heaters, and you can see, conveniently, there's a row of buttons here right now to quickly access ventilation, heated seats, heated steering wheel, parking, camera. All right at your fingertips if you have your hand on the armrest. You've got a wireless charging pad right here right now, 2 cup holders, a slot to put a phone vertically, which actually came in really useful on this trip. Redesigned steering wheel here. It does have more of a texture on it versus the outgoing Ioniq 5. The buttons here are flipped versus the existing car. You'll also notice that the screen surround is all black now, no more white. You've got the CCNC software system going in here. It works really well. Pretty pleased with it after my road trip. You've also got now a revised ventilation screen here. So you have one single screen here instead of the 2 separate temperature screens on either end. You do also have now a driver only button as well as a sync button. Those were not there on the previous version of the car. All this trim in here now, the window switches, the door releases, the buttons here on the center console, they're all this kind of gunmetal gray color versus the really bright silver. But all around, I mean, it's a pretty familiar cabin if you own one of these cars. You'll also notice too, no more piping along the edge of the seats. So they removed that for 2025 apparently. It used to be like a black and like reddish orange piping material that would go around the entire seat. That is now gone. Over here we have a charge port door opening button. The previous Ioniq 5 did not have that. USB-C ports galore in this car. There's 1 there, 2 here, and then there are 2 more located in the back here. I don't know if you can see those. Here on the limited trim, just like the 2024, you still have the digital rear view mirror. Obviously, you got the massive panoramic glass roof here in the limited. Looks great. And because we are on the limited, we obviously can move the center console forward and backward. And here on the limited trim, we do have the head-up display. You can see I've already got my comma 3X mounted. It doesn't appear to be working. I'm working with some of the developers of Sunny Pilot to get them some data from this so they can get it working, because I really missed having this on my road trip. But highway drive assist is greatly improved. We'll go way more into the software in a future video. Because this car does have a J3400 port, or NACS, you do get both a J1772 to NACS, so if you have a level 2 charger at home, you can continue using that. You can just permanently leave this on your charger. Quietness in here, greatly improved. Definitely noticed that on the road trip. Let's check out the back seat real quick. Even with me at 6'2", I still have a little bit of knee room back here. And you still do have the ability to slide the seats forward and backward, of course. One of the hallmarks of the Ioniq 5. In this limited trim, you got the rear sunshades, heated seats for the rear passengers, same seat back pockets as before, and you got your vents. Here in the top trim, you do have LED lights. Something I did notice on the road trip, there's no grab handle on the driver's side anymore, only on the passenger. I did find that really annoying because I do like to grab it while I'm driving. All the materials look pretty much the same, other than the change to the color for the door handles and other switches and stuff. I have not heard a single rattle, squeak, nothing. Something they also changed for 2025 is you now also have a much larger cutout here for the seatbelt, so you can actually see it was twisted for the entire road trip and it didn't click or rattle. So that is actually pretty cool. I didn't notice that when I picked up the car that it was twisted. That does look a little unfinished. That looks like that's supposed to have a little plastic shroud or something. Let's see if the other side has it. The other side does have it. That's an accident from the factory, so that's gonna have to get remedied. Let's check out the trunk now. So here on the limited trim, it does come with the cargo cover. Seems very high quality. It also did come with a severe weather kit. Here in the trunk, not a whole lot has changed. You still got a single 12-volt, one LED light, and then you have this floor that you can lift up and lock into place like that. Now, something you are going to notice here for 2025 is due to the NACS port. And what you're going to see is under the floor now, there is this large box over here. So because you have a charge port here that just switches between AC and DC charging, you have to have a switch in the car. So they were able to fit it next to the sub. I'm interested to see what it looks like in the SEL, because in the SEL you don't have the subwoofer there in the center. So yeah, cargo capacity is a little bit more limited in the 2025 because of that. So I think that's kind of going to do it for this first look at my new 2025 Ioniq 5. Make sure you're subscribed. I'm going to have so much content on this new car. If you're thinking of buying one, let me know down in the comments section. Again, check out Stevenson Hyundai of Frederick if you're in the Denver area. Check out my store at ioniqguy.com for accessories for your Hyundai, Kia, or Genesis EV. I will see if my walkaway door lock device will install just as it did for previous years with this car. I'm pretty sure it does, so look for that if you're interested. I'm going to design cup holder enlargers and some of the other things. My magnetic eyewear holders obviously work because it's the same magnetic little dashboard accoutrement as previously. So, as always, guys, I will see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.